So here is my brand new steering wheel. How cool does that look? Let me remind you how the old one looked. So yeah, it's pretty plain. All I did was install a carbon fiber sticker on the airbag down here, and I had this flimsy carbon fiber steering wheel cover. But other than that, it was pretty boring and pretty old. It was definitely due for an update. So now, let me show you how I did this. As you guys know, I've done a lot of exterior mods and performance mods to my 2015 Audi A4. However, my stock steering wheel is looking pretty tired and old and pretty boring, and I'm just tired of using a steering wheel cover to make it look good. So today I'm going to be installing a brand new custom steering wheel for my sponsors, DMP Car Design. Last year, I upgraded to a DMP Car Design steering wheel on my Mercedes-Benz, and I love it. So now, time to do the same for my Audi. And if you want more information on this steering wheel in this video, or a custom steering wheel for your car, I'll leave DMP Car Design's information in the description below. Okay, let's slap on the new steering wheel. First step is to remove the cover to the side fuse box to the left of the steering wheel. And then I'm going to grab my owner's manual so I can locate where the fuse is for the airbag. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that fuse. This is just a safety precaution just in case anything happens with the airbag, but I'll replace it once the install is completely done. To remove the airbag, it's actually held on by two clips. There's one back here and one back here. And to access them, I need to turn the steering wheel to the right, and then I can access it through the back, and then I'll turn it to the left and do the same thing through the back. But to do that, I need to start the car first. Here's the clip right here. I'm just going to grab a flathead screwdriver and push down on it. And while it's down, I'm going to pull on the airbag cover. Now that the airbag is released, I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. And then the full airbag should come right off. Now I can remove the airbag clip right here just by lifting up this green tab and pulling it out. And then I will remove this connector right here, and this will actually just pull right apart. So on the back of the airbag, right here are the two spring clips you can see here. And that's what I was pushing down with the screwdriver. They actually match up with this notch up here and this notch right here. So next is to remove this bolt. It's a T55 and that should take it right off. So this bolt is really stubborn. I ended up using a really long torque wrench to break it loose. And once it broke loose, I was able to ratchet it off. And here's the bolt. And now I could pull the steering wheel right off. Here is the old steering wheel, and here's the brand new one. How cool does that look? So it has carbon fiber on the bottom, it has alcantara on the side, it also has red stitching, carbon up top. That carbon fiber is super slick. It has this S-Line logo. It has gloss black on the airbag and alcantara and red stitching. Paddle shifters on the back. And it also has a drive select button and a push button start. So yeah, this is a huge upgrade over the stock steering wheel. First step is to align the steering wheel onto the steering column. There should be a notch right here on the steering wheel that can match up with a little indentation on the steering column. Next is to reinstall the bolt. I put some Loctite on it, some blue Loctite. Screwed it in by hand. and then tightened it all the way down and torqued it down to spec. Okay, next is the airbag. Just gonna install this black clip right here and this yellow airbag connector right here. And once those connections are made, the airbag can be pushed right in and it should click right into place. Now that the steering wheel is fully installed, everything's nice and tight, I can go ahead, power on the car, and test out all the buttons. I've actually been driving around with the steering wheel on the car for about 6 months now. Before I give you a full review of the steering wheel, I want to talk about the functions first. So this steering wheel is plug and play, but there's a caveat to that. What that means is, if the old steering wheel had specific buttons and functions that worked, those specific buttons and functions will transfer to the new steering wheel. However, anything brand new on the steering wheel that's not on the old steering wheel won't work. So yeah, these buttons do fully work on my steering wheel. However, the paddle shifters did not work. So what I did was I bought an Audi programming cable online, and I actually had the reseller do the programming for my car to make the paddle shifters work. And that can also be done at any Audi specialist shop that does programming for Audi vehicles. So now my paddle shifters fully work. And there's two other things. The drive select button right here, it doesn't work. I didn't have that feature on my old steering wheel, and it can't be programmed to work on my car because my car doesn't have drive select at all. So yeah, that button is just gonna be a dummy button. So the last thing is the start stop button. I didn't have that feature on my old steering wheel, and this new one, I can't just program it for it to work. However, there is a way around that because I do have a push button start in my car, and I can piggyback onto that to make this work. And this is how I did it. So here is the receiver for the steering wheel. So what happens is this blue wire right here will tap into the signal wire to the push button start that's in the center of my car. So when I go to push the push button start on the steering wheel, it'll send a signal to this board right here, which will send a signal to this blue wire to the center console, and it'll basically start the car. It's also the same process if I had the dynamic modes in my car. I would just use this white wire to tap into that dynamic mode button existing on my car. But since I don't have that, I'm not going to use the white wire. I'm only going to use the blue one for the push button start. And then we have the black wire here for ground and the red wire here for power. So here's the wiring. Right here is the positive red wire. And these are all always on constant power. And then over here is where I grounded the black wire. So both of these wires, I actually had to extend them. That way they can reach all the way from the center console. So now let's take a look right over here underneath this button here. The connector has 4 wires. There's 2 blue ones that I need to tap into. To get to them, I first needed to pry off the AC control head unit, and it pops right off. I'm just going to set that aside. And then I'm going to peel up the shift boot, pull that up, and then just pry up on the whole entire center console. It should pop right up. And the connector is right there with the 4 wires. So I took the blue wire from the module and I split it into 2 wires. So those 2 wires, I'm going to tap into the existing 2 blue wires to the connector that goes to the OEM push button start. Okay, here's the moment of truth. How cool is that? So guys, as I stated, I've had this steering wheel for over 6 months and I've been testing it like crazy. And all I have to say is it's been perfect. There's no issues whatsoever. There's no check engine light. There's no airbag faults. nothing. And everything looks exactly the same way it looked from day one. Like, I drive with my hand at the 8 o'clock position on the Alcantara, and it's still super soft, and there's no rips, no tears, or anything like that. The carbon fiber is still slick and it looks super clean from the top to the bottom. And also all the buttons work perfectly fine. My volume control, the phone calls up and down, everything works well. And let's talk about the paddle shifters. Yes, my transmission's pretty slow between shifts, but man, I loved using these paddle shifters. And even though my drive select button doesn't work because I don't have that feature on this car, I have to say, having that red start and stop button on my steering wheel is pretty badass. I think it looks awesome. So overall, I'm really happy with the steering wheel. Well, there you have it. I love the brand new steering wheel. It looks awesome, it feels awesome, and I love all the cool functions on it. Again, if you want more information on custom steering wheels, definitely reach out to DMP Car Design. Well, I'm gonna head out, enjoy my car, and I'll see you next time.